Welcome to CEO Money. I'm Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. All right, I have Brandon Stevens, owner of Brandon Stevens Motors and Stevens Enterprises, with me today. Brandon, welcome to the show. Thanks for being here.
Oh, Mike, thank you for having me.
All right, you have gone from, as a young child, selling pigeons, owning 10 different dealerships, 50 health clubs, steakhouse, a handful of other ventures, and there's been ups and downs along the way. You've managed to overcome these difficulties and make yourself into a success. Give our audience some in-depth background about you, and then tell us what you're doing with yourself now that help other people.
Okay. Well, first, thanks for having the show. I appreciate it. I wish I could give you a straight answer for, people always ask how you get there so fast. But when I was young, I didn't have this grand plan on being a serial entrepreneur, and I don't even know if that's my goal today, to be a serial, entrepreneur. I just started young. When I was 12 years old, my brother and I saw an opportunity to clean snow off driveways in our neighborhood, and we grabbed a shovel. And then we were so busy. The next year, we bought a truck for $1,100. And then when it wasn't snowing, that truck was just sitting around, and I started collecting pigeons off of buildings and selling them to dog trainers. It's just I didn't think, oh, what's the need? I just saw that my dad was buying pigeons for $1.75 from a guy that was collecting pigeons. I said, well, I can do that. So I started doing it, and I used that truck, and I didn't have a driver's license. I was 13, driving around the blocks, with collecting pigeons. And then I used that truck, and we got another truck, and next thing you know, I'm starting to buy junker cars just for $200-$300 and sell them for $500 or $600. That led me to getting a job at a car dealership, just because I was fascinated with that industry, with that business. But my job was literally washing cars. I was the guy in the lot. You always saw washing cars, and that was my sophomore year in high school. Then my junior year, I talked to them to let me detail cars, because they paid you not by the hour, but how many cars you detailed an hour. And I knew that I could outwork, the hourly pace. And then that was my junior year. My senior year, I talked to them to let me sell cars, and it was a pretty big deal because I was only 17. And first month, I was salesman of the month, and I was addicted to selling cars. Not because I liked selling cars, but because I liked people, I liked the industry, and more importantly, I liked the money that being salesman of the month paid. So I was dead set, Mike, when I was 17 years old, that I was not going to college. I was an athlete all the way through high school, so I thought I could have, I was going to play tennis through college, but I was dead set I was going to be a car salesman. My mom, who's a school teacher, Mike, how do you think that set with her when I told her I wasn't going to college? I was going to stay home and sell used cars.
Okay. All right, one of your statements is attitude is everything. Give our audience a flavor for what you mean by that.
Attitude is everything. Well, the neatest thing about our attitude is we are in charge of it. We get to decide what our attitude is today at this moment. And if it's negative, I have this light switch theory. Just get up, get out of your chair, go turn off the lights, wait 2 seconds, and turn it back on. And that's how easy it is to change your attitude. And we are in charge of our attitude. And everybody knows there's 15,000 million quotes on how important attitude is, right? Well, our attitude is everything, but we get to decide how good or bad our attitude is. And that determines so much throughout the day.
All right. Tell me what it is that you're doing out there in the world, because you do more than Stevens Motor Cars. I mean, Stevens Enterprise. Tell us about that.
Well, my brother and I are partners, so he's a year older than me, and I followed him to college. And we kind of did a lot of things together when we were younger in college. I was more entrepreneurial just in college, because I was, he was more about the fraternity and whatnot. But through college, we started a lot of business together. Well, he graduated a year earlier than I did, and he came back and studied for the LSAT and opened up and was managing a health club. Well, he decided not to go to law school, and he ended up buying health club. When I graduated, I ended up starting one little used car lot. And then in '97, we kind of partnered together, and we decided everything we were going to do, we were going to do it together. And so that's when Stevens Enterprises was formed, even though we didn't even know what a partnership was back then. It was more of a handshake. And so I took my half of the business, and I developed Eddie's now, which is Brandon Stephen Motors, which my main dealerships are called Eddie's Everything. And then he started Genesis Health Club and started expanding. When he got to 3, it was a really big deal. And now we're at 50 health clubs all throughout the Midwest, in like 7 or 8 states. And I'm in 3 different states with car dealerships. So that's our core businesses, health clubs and the car dealerships. Now we have a couple hockey teams, minor league hockey teams. We have a couple restaurants, and we have some other things. We do a lot of real estate development, but our core businesses are health clubs and car dealerships.
What makes those different than anybody else out there?
Us, customer service, our teams. I mean, I think out of the first 50 people that I've hired that I decided to partner with, 47 of them still work for us. And it's neat because a lot of those people I went to high school with. It's kind of crazy, but that's just it. And we've developed a really strong team. We are in the trenches with our team every day.
All right. Now, you have a set of guidelines that you've used over the years to make yourself successful. Give our audience some flavor for what you're doing. I think one of the statements that you make is intentional goals are important. And I'm sure that the reason you have success isn't because just the two guys at the top, that you have a whole culture of success.
Yeah, thank you for that. But yes, I kind of got infatuated with that word intentional when they put it in front of the word goals, because generally I'm not a fan of goal setters, right? Like people say, oh, when I'm 27, I'm going to be a billionaire, or when I'm going to have all. I'm not a big fan of that because it's almost too intimidating for people, and they set these lofty goals and they can't get there because they don't have a plan of action, POA. And so I like the word intentional in front of there because it makes it sound like, okay, what can I do today? What can I do today to get to my goals? And my advice to people when they're setting goals is keep it super simple. Okay, it's okay to have, I always say, it's okay to have these long-term lofty goals, but let's break them down and then break them down and then break them down again to a goal that I can attain today, right? Why not set a goal that I can get done today and then I can get done for this week? And then I get done by the month. And if you break it down that way, then these lofty goals that we set aren't so far away because we start getting some momentum behind our goals. Once you start knocking them down and there's a lot of power in checking off your to-do list or checking off a goal that I have. There's a lot, people don't give it enough credit to how much power that is just to scratch through it when you get it done.
For the young entrepreneurs that are planning on starting their own business, do you have any advice for them?
Yes, the word entrepreneur, is really never in my vocabulary, so I don't know if I'm a big fan of that word. But my advice to these young entrepreneurs is don't be afraid to fail. Don't be afraid to hear the word no, right? I mean, I wasn't smart enough to fail, to be afraid to fall when I was earlier. I just kept swinging at the bat. People now look at when you fail that it's losing. It's not. Remember that the most young aspiring entrepreneurs do not get there by just hitting a home run on their first swing at bat, because oftentimes most young entrepreneurs that want to be entrepreneurs, they don't get to taste the feeling of a victory soon enough before they quit. So my question to them is, are you ready to be told no by 7 different bankers before you're ready to go to the 8th? Or if you have a mentor, or let's say you have 2 or 3 people that you run your ideas by, and all 3 of them say, no, it's a bad idea. Are you ready just to walk away and say, okay, I'm going to go get a job at XYZ now? If you're not ready to hear those no's and to hear that criticism, then you're not really a young entrepreneur.
Of all the things that you could think of, what do you feel, coming from your perspective, is one of the most important things about making a business succeed?
Well, Mike, that's probably the question I get asked the most, right? And I'm not disappointed in that question. I just get asked a lot, and the answer is there is not one answer. There's not one thing, and my simple answer is it's all those little things that add up to big things. And I'm going to quote Brian Tracy, and because I preach to my team all the time the winning edge theory. The winning edge theory is what we live on. The winning edge theory says that the difference between the top performers or the average and the mediocre performers is not a great one. It's just always a small difference. Top performers just do those little things better and better every single day. And most young people that want to start their business, they're not prepared just to gain just a little bit more knowledge every single day. And so if I had to give one person advice today on how to start your own business, I would say is don't wait until your table is set. A lot of people want to start a new business. They want to get, they want to get their dinner plates and their fork and their salad plates and their soup bowls and their knives and their forks and their teas and all that stuff. They want to get the whole table set before they're ready to invite everyone over to dinner. I'm saying you don't have to. Just dive right in. Quit thinking about it. Quit thinking about how I got to start this big empire, and just jump right in. If you fail, fine, keep going, but get a client. Get some revenue. Start a mess by getting a revenue stream and then figure it out. Yes, getting your landing page and all your social media and all those things ready to go are important, but you ain't got to spend a fortune. You got to take all your resources and build this elaborate website. Get some income coming in. You might find out that your needs are different than what you originally thought.
Well put. All right, Brandon, thanks for being a guest on today's show. Good information.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Or you've been watching CEO Money with Michael Yorba. Thanks for joining with us. Don't forget, download our app on iOS and Android.